Right, so that happened yesterday, and as from that particular press conference, it was said by 2 p.m. today, the strike is likely to be called off, and Kenyans were hoping that actually the strike is going to be called off. What happened? What changed?
Thank you very much, Ashley, for having me.
Karibu.
And I thank my members for honoring me by giving me the opportunity to come and represent them and address their issues here. I would like to first of all address the issue that the government might have been disappointed with what became of the so-called ending of the strike. I now use the analogy of sometimes when you're out there in the dating scene and you're under pressure from your mother probably to get married, then you meet a girl who smiles at you and gives you a coffee date, and then you go and announce it to your mother that you have a wife. When the woman says no to your proposal, don't blame the girl. It's you who went telling your mother prematurely that you have a wife. So the same thing happened in that case, that we met the ministry as a government and we told them that we have a process of how we end our strikes and how we handle our strikes. It's not a dictatorial situation where the Secretary General proclaims and his word is the law. After any agreement is arrived at, it is subjected to a vote of 36 leaders from across the country. And these leaders met and went through clause by clause and felt that whatever was presented was not good enough. And why do we say so? Because sometimes government can bully the negotiators because they have the power, they can threaten. And sometimes due to pressure and tiring the negotiator through tactics, they can then weaken them and make them to give in. For the last 3-4 days that the government talks about, they have called us for meeting late in the evening. That runs up to 3-4 a.m. It's a tactic used to tire the other side. So why we have to bring the fresh people from the ground is that for them, they still have the reality and the clarity of mind of the issues at hand. So they then tell you that, no, not so fast, my brothers and sisters. These issues are still alive. So that's what happened, that the issue that took us a strike, nothing was addressed. And it is tragic that even the so-called negotiations, government, our employers, instead of facing us and talking to us, they sent for us a battery of like 7-8 lawyers. So we would argue for 1 hour about just a wording, a comma, a full stop. And even the little movement that occurred because we insisted that the lawyers have to step aside. We want to engage our employer directly. Yeah. So our members felt that, for example, the most important issue in this strike, and the reason why this strike began, we were never supposed to go on strike. We were never prepared for a strike. That's the honest position. But the interns, the medical interns who had graduated and had stayed home for almost 1 year, waiting to be posted, had not been posted. And when we went out to demonstrate and push the government to post them by February, our SG Dr. got shot. And the people felt so offended that the internship issue is something already secured and has been done for 7 years in the CBO. If we agitate to push for it, you have no right to shoot anybody. And I have to tell you that I met personally, because the SG was in the hospital, I met the ministry officials and I told them and I warned them that this issue is so simple. You can just post the interns and pay later. But when a strike commences, ending a doctor's strike is not easy. And why do I say so? Because there's so many competing factors. I have the medical intern who is a member of the union who wants to be posted. I have the medical officer who has already been promoted at the county. I have the registrars doing their master's training whose fees are not being paid and they're working for free. I have the consultant who have already been promoted with no medical cover. So when you go promising them to getting them out of work, you are promising each and single of them something.
Okay.
So what happens that during the negotiations, which is a give and take, you don't know which one to give and take, because if you leave the interns, they'll complain. When you leave the consultants, they'll complain. That's why I told them that starting a doctor's strike is easy, ending it hard. And I begged them and I pleaded with them that please don't allow the strike to start. But they never listened. And I have to squarely put the blame in the office of the CS, Susan Nakhumicha, for whatever has become of this mess.
Okay.
Why do I say so?
Yeah,
Nothing
why?
personal.
Yes.
Because when we were starting to have the initial meetings, and I give credit to Mary Mudhoni, the PS, she has not paid me for this, but she had 2 meetings with us trying to avert the strike. The first meeting when we attended, as we were meeting, when the meeting ended, when we stepped out, we found the CS already addressing the media. She had not been briefed of whatever we had discussed. Our second meeting again, we met, The CS refused to come down. Instead, she chose to meet the interns alone. The interns are not going to give her anything concrete. It was the union leaders who were going to provide the solution. She never met us. And the strike began. And when the strike begins, what does she do? Instead of coming to meet the doctors, what did she do? She decided to give a circular, reducing the intern salary from 206,000 to 47. And we have learned, sadly, that they're claiming that SRC came with that circular. It is Minister of Health who went to SRC and told them, please reduce this money. And SRC told them that no. On what basis? Because in 2016, before the CBA, we did an evaluation of all workers, both interns, all healthcare workers, and we found that the work that they do is worth 206,000. If we are to review this again, we don't need to review it higher because inflation has been there and the work that they do has increased because counties no longer employ.
All right.
So the SRC refused to do that. Then the minister herself single-handedly came with the figures of 47,000 to 70,000 and gave SRC, which they illegally put a letterhead and sent back 48 hours later saying that they reduced salaries for interns. In the middle of a strike, you cannot do that, because when you do that, then people get agitated. And that's how the consultants got mad. Everybody got mad. Then we continue talking. What did the minister do then next? She instructs the Director General, Dr. Amoth, to do an internship policy in the middle of the chaos. And what does Dr. Amoth do? He puts a new policy in place. The old one has no problem. That interns can't join a union. Interns will have to look for their own medical cover. Interns will have to go to get a certificate of good conduct. That intern salary can be subjected anyway without any further input from anybody. That interns can either choose to take those positions or not. And we're like, wow. We are trying to fix this problem as negotiators, and we are causing more trouble and lighting more fire under our feet. Is
SRC part of the negotiation team?
They are not, and they should not be. In negotiation by the labor laws, is an employer and an employee. Mm-hmm. Once you have agreed, if it's something that affects money, you then ask SRC to send a letter for concurrence. So there's no point that SRC should be coming between us and the ministry. So that's why I squarely blame the Minister for Health for the current morass that the country has found itself in.
You know, many Kenyans are trying to find out. So then, why was the government so sure that you're going to sign that CBA or the return to work formula today? Are you trying to say they're trying to twist you?
You know, as doctors, the only thing we trade is trust and honesty. I'm not going to come here to engage politicians in a word of he said, she said. Kenyans know that every day they trust their lives with the doctor. And the results can be seen all over the news, what we do to save lives. Kenyans also know that they trust their taxes with the politicians. And the results also is out there to see of the mess they have created with that. So tonight is for the Kenyans to choose who will they trust between the doctor and the politician. The jury is out. Let them decide. But all I can tell you is that in every reason we went out on strike, we don't strike for fun. The last time we went for strike was 7 years ago, where we were fighting for a CBA that we had signed 4 years earlier in 2013. That CBA that we signed in 2013, government disowned it and said that whoever signed, their own officer, was a stranger. We went to strike for 100 days to force them to implement it. They refused for 100 days, jailed our officials for 100 days. Then finally we gave in and told them, okay, you win. Let's go make a new deal. And we called off the strike before the discussion began. So when I hear them say that they signed the CBA under duress, it's a lie. Why? Because the strike ended in March 2017, and the discussions began after that, and the CBA was signed towards the end of July. There was no strike, there was no duress. 1. 2, we took they took the CBA that we signed in 2017. Their own lawyers took it to Justice Linet Ndolo and deposited in court. And then the judge asked, give me the letter of no objection from SRC. And SRC gave a letter that the figures are okay, we can afford.
Okay.
And that is how that CBA was deposited in court. They didn't implement it. 2 years later, we sued them in a court of law. And we won the case, and the court ordered them to implement the CBA. They didn't appeal the case to mean they agreed with it. So to come today and disown that CBA that is in court, do you think that as doctors, we are so naive that we'll accept a return to work formula based on goodwill and promise when what is legally binding you have trashed?
Let's even talk about that proposed return to work formula. Yes. What exactly does it entail?
The return to work formula is exactly what my SG described it and my chairman. An arrangement of an alphabetical word in a pattern seeming to look like a return to work formula. Why do I say so? Because first of all, it was crafted by lawyers. So the words are vague and you can't make head until, for example, when somebody tells you that in the internship issue, they tell you that this is a KMPDU position, this is the government position, and leave it at that. So what have you agreed on? Is a return to work because you have agreed on something? There's no agreement on that. Then somebody tells that in the case of Kenyatta Hospital, where doctors are earning a third of what some of their colleagues are earning, same job, same rota, somebody's earning 20,000, somebody's earning 80,000. Where is the fairness? Then they say that that one will be subject to the institution according to their existing laws deciding what to do.
Okay.
Then they tell you that you have the option of the 81 doctors earning the 80,000 or aspiring 3/4 of them so that a quarter can earn the 200,000. As a union, you can't agree to that. Another example I'll tell you that Kenyatta University, JKUAT University, were given money by the Ministry of Education, and the union had made the list Professor Magua to give that money for allowances. When they got the money, they pocketed the money and never gave the doctors. Money that was already availed and we fought for.
All those are allegations, though, since they are not here to defend.